What's going on, you guys? I'm Alex from Boards, Bikes, and Hikes, and welcome back to another 2022 snowboard catalog preview. In this preview, we're not going to be looking at a snowboard this time. We're actually going to change it up a little bit. We're going to be looking at the 2022 models of the Union bindings. Now, personally, I have switched over to the Burton Step-On binding, and that's, my binding of choice. However, before riding the Burton Step-On, I was a huge fan of Union bindings. I still think they look super sick. They have, a proven design. They're top of the line. I mean, in my opinion, they're pretty much the gold standard of your, run-of-the-mill binding. So every Union binding is super sick. I've gotten to try a couple. I've loved each and every one that I've tried. So now let's take a look at the 2022 Union bindings. But before we do that, can you please do me one gigantic favor and smash that like button to really help me out with the almighty YouTube algorithm? And if you can smash that like button for me, I'll show you a picture of what my dog looks like when she first wakes up in the morning. It's a pretty funny picture. So, if you could smash that like button in 3, 2, 1, and here's the picture of my dog when she wakes up some mornings. So, now with that out of the way, let's dive into the 2022 Union binding catalog. So, get scrolling down here. Union for Life, Travis Rice, hitting some super sweet lines. Keep on scrolling here. New global headquarters. Looks awesome. I've actually watched a video of Kevin from Snowboard Pro Camp visiting the Union factory, and I'll link that in the description as well if you're interested in checking that out. Super sick to see him actually go around the Union factory. It looks awesome inside, and it's just cool to see the technology and the way they, design their bindings. All right. Magnesium ratchets. Exo-frame ankle straps. TS 4.0 toe strap. Let's get into the all-mountain bindings. First up is the Atlas FC, the forged carving machine. The Atlas binding is going to be an all-mountain binding. A little bit of a stiffer flex, well actually a super stiff flex, a high back flex of a 10 out of 10, base plate 9 out of 10, strap 8 out of 10. So this is going to be a hard charging, all mountain, straight up just, carving binding. You got the Atlas All Mountain Legend. It's going to be a little less stiff than the forged carving machine. The All Mountain Legend's going to have a 7 out of 10 flex on the high back, 8 out of 10 on the base plate, and a 7 out of the strap. So it's going to be a little bit softer, not quite as aggressive. Got some really sick colors. I'm actually digging this the white down here in the corner as well as this one they got showing right here. Got the Union Force, which is just like your standard workhorse, super dependable, always in the Union lineup. It's a great all-mountain binding. And I've ridden the Union Force a couple times on my buddy Brandon's board, and I'm a super big fan of them. They're just super responsive. They're a nice stiff binding, but they still feel really good in the park. They feel really good on butters, tweaks, jibs, stuff like that. So the Union Force is always in the Union lineup. It's super dependable, all around just a really great all-mountain, fun, responsive binding. Now we got the Union Trilogy, which is a women's specific all-mountain binding. It's going to have a 7 out of 10 flex across the board. I think this is the women's version of the Union Force. We got the Union STR up next. Now this is an all-mountain binding. It's going to be 7 out of 10 flex on the high back, but a 6 out of 10 flex on the strap and the base plate. So it's going to be a little bit softer, but still a great all-mountain binding. Got the Juliet, which is the women's counterpart. Got a 5 out of 10 on the high back flex, 6 out of 10 on the wrist. My wife would really like that color, if I could ever convince my wife to snowboard. All right, next up is the Freestyle bindings. Got Scott Stevens doing what he does best. Super sick one-footed trick. It's going to bring us into the Union Falcor. The Union Falcor is Travis Rice's pro model of choice. This is that's what Travis Rice uses to send all that he does and all his backcountry and just massive manliness that is Travis Rice. It's going to be a 9 out of 10 flex on the high back, a 7 on the base plate, a 8 on the strap. It's going to just be a hard charging, really aggressive freestyle binding. I'd actually like to ride one just because there's a lot of technology that goes into these bindings. I'd love to test them out and actually, you know, I'm a step-on guy now, but this would look so sick on my Golden Orca that I picked up. Got the Union Strata, which is a freestyle binding, but still rips the mountain really well. The Strata also comes with a mini disc, which is going to allow the board to flex a little more naturally because that disc, when you bolt it down to your board, it's going to create a dead space on your board. And with that mini disc, it shrinks that down and minimizes that contact point, and that's going to allow the board to flex a little more naturally. My buddy Brandon and my buddy Daniel both have the Stratas. They're really big fans of them. They're great, you know, for all mountain freestyle, but they're still, with that mini disc and stuff, they still do jibs, butters, and park and everything really well. They're just a really great, well-rounded binding, and I'm really digging this color this year. Alright guys, next up is the Union Legacy, another freestyle binding. It's going to be a little bit softer than the Strata. Still has that mini disc technology. Comes in black. That purple looks really sick. Pearl white. Basically the women's Strata, I believe. Now we have the Contact Pro. Now the Contact Pro I actually rode for about a year and a half, and I really enjoyed the Contact Pro. It gives every board like a really surfy feel. It's got a mini disc. It's a really soft flexing binding. It makes it really fun for jibs and park riding, and even for all mountain riding. It's just really fun. Like, it makes everything feel really fun to ride. It's just a really comfortable binding. It's got a really comfortable footbed. The ankle strap, toe strap are both really comfortable. Just overall, like, I rode this from everything from park, warm slushy days. I rode it in Breckenridge. I actually did a couple tree runs with it. It's a little bit slower as far as response time goes, but it still actually worked really well for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time on the Contact Pro. And next year, alright, as I said, I am a Burton step-on guy now, but this Slush Slasher Contact Pro just makes me want to have a separate pair just to ride. I really want to pick up a Slush Slasher next year. I think it looks super fun. I like the concept and the design, and the short, fat, wide board works for me really well. But this binding matches the Slush Slasher next year so well. Like, it just makes me happy. I want one of these so bad. If I get a Slush Slasher, I don't know. I'm going to have to see what I can do here, because, like I said, I like step-ons, but this binding may be my favorite binding ever to exist. Right, now we have the women's Surfs Up Milan binding. Again, I think this is the women's version of the Contact Pro. I really like this, like, just all white design. And I know my wife would love that pink and white. One of these days I'm going to get my wife on a snowboard. I don't know how. I'm going to try. And we have all new Flight Pro and Rosa. So the Flight Pro is Union's lightest binding, I believe. It's got a regular disc, not a mini disc, but it is a softer flexing binding. It's just going to be super lightweight. It's very similar to the Falcor, but just a lighter weight version. I believe it doesn't have quite as much technology in it as the Falcor, but it's got that same style, you know, high back to it. It's also going to be a lot cheaper. And then we have the Rosa, which is the women's version. I actually really like that mint green color. Now we're getting into the youth bindings. Got the Cadet Pro for kids. 6 out of 10 flex. Good mid flex kids binding. Got the Cadet for even smaller kids. Gonna be a little bit softer with a 4 out of 10 flex. Cadet XS for the really tiny kids. There's a lot of actually young shredders out there. When we were in Colorado, and like when I went to Whistler last season, it blew my mind how good and like how young some of the kids started. I'm super jealous that I didn't get to start snowboarding. I skied back then, but I wish I could have. I tried. I wish I would have stuck with snowboarding at that age. All right, now we're going to get into the Expedition, which I believe are going to be all of our split board bindings. Got the Explorer FC, forged carbon. 6 out of 10 flex on the high back, 7 out of 10 base plate, 8 out of 10 on the strap. Super stiff binding, but looks super rad. And then we have just a regular Explorer. Not going to have that carbon in it. Same stiffness for the most part. Probably going to run a little bit cheaper if I had to guess. Got the Rover. Those look pretty awesome. Okay, so these are almost like little tiny split boards. Got the Expedition pack. That looks really sick. Oh, and then look down here. You can hold your little, basically like a combination of like split board and snowshoes. That is sick. I've said it in other videos before. Splitboarding is something I really hope that one day I can get into. I want to live, or at least be able to travel to somewhere frequently enough that I could like have a splitboard set up. That's something I would love to do. Something I'm super interested in because I love to hike. And I mean, this would be hiking and snowboarding combined. I think if I could get my wife to snowboard, this splitboarding would be like her way in. That would be her kind of thing. And rental bindings. I didn't even know Union made rental bindings. That's awesome. Got just your standard run-of-the-mill rental binding from Union down here. Good medium flex. Deluxe R. So you got a little bit higher quality rental binding. And now we just got all the parts and accessories. And the soft goods, of course. Now, I can speak from experience. I don't see it. Ah, the Union Classic Coach Jacket. One, super love one. Like, not the Classic Coach, but I have the hooded Coach. I mean, the Union Coach Jacket is awesome for, like, warmer spring park days. It also works really well if you layer it with a hoodie on those colder days. It's basically... I've honestly used it as a raincoat quite a few times too, but it's super comfortable for warmer days. And then again, it works well if you want to layer it. But I really, really like it. I have one in camo. I also have a Union long sleeve that I would wear under that. So, got to rep the Union, even though I'm currently not riding any Union. But still love their products. And here's just an overview of everything we covered in this video. Guys, thank you so much if you've watched this video this long through. Please, again, smash that like button. It's going to really help me out. Or subscribe to my channel. I post videos every Monday, Wednesdays. Sometimes I'll sprinkle some other content throughout the week if I've got a whole lot going on and I've, got a lot of exciting things to show you. But thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one soon.